Hello everyone, and welcome back. I'm Charlie the Traveler, and I hope you're having a great day. I released my Frontier Airlines trip report video a couple weeks ago, and if you haven't seen it, make sure to click here. It's pretty good. Today's video is going to be more about history rather than a review. I will always try to keep these pretty brief so I don't put you to sleep. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm sure you all have heard of the Boeing 747 and maybe have had the opportunity to fly on one. This is an iconic aircraft, as it was considered the first modern passenger jumbo jet in its years. Starting in 1965, this aircraft lost a competition to be the new military transport for the US Air Force. So instead of giving up, the designers put into place a new concept that would change history forever. This was the idea of being used as a commercial and cargo airliner instead of a military airplane. By 1966, the company Boeing had drafted final blueprints for the Boeing 747, and Pan Am Airlines ordered 25 of them to accommodate a growing number of passengers. Joe Sutter, one of Boeing's lead engineers, had many challenges in front of him. This included creating an engine powerful enough that didn't even exist, keeping the weight down, and mastering the structure of an aircraft that was triple the size of the largest aircraft at that time. Surprisingly, in only 29 months, everything was put together and the first ever commercial 747 rolled out on September 30th, 1968. After a year of testing, the 747 took its first commercial flight on January 30th, 1970. This Pan Am flight was from New York to London, and this was the start of an aviation evolution. Problems did occur after the first couple flights due to airports not being able to accommodate an aircraft of that size. So, to fit the next generation of planes, most airports underwent expansions. The 747 consisted of two decks, with roughly 400 seats on the bottom and a lounge on the top of the aircraft featuring bars, restaurants, or even a grand piano. Connecting the two decks was an iconic spiral staircase that most 747s still have. Although different versions of this plane were released, they mostly all had the same concept and layout. People always describe the atmosphere of a 747 as an experience rather than just a flight. Travelers recall it seeming like a party, with spaces to socialize, eat, and drink. Once airborne, pilots would open the cockpit to give tours, and the food was served on china with real silverware. Flight attendants showed true hospitality by offering fresh-baked cookies and complimentary champagne. The 747 was considered one of the safest too. In its 50 years of service, there has been only 146 incidents. I know that sounds like a lot, but also remember that most of these were not fatal and were likely an emergency landing due to a broken part. There were only about 5 incidents involving fatalities, like the Trans World Airlines Flight 800 that killed all 230 people on board after exploding in mid-air. But engineers soon fixed the problem and no more issues were reported. Until 2007, the Boeing 747 remained the largest passenger jet in service until the Airbus A380 was released. In 2016, Boeing announced that they would consider stopping production of this airliner because of a reduced demand for them, as the Airbus A380 was more efficient and was larger. That October, the last 25 747s were scheduled to be delivered until 2022, at a rate of 6 per year. By 2018, Boeing had produced more than 1,500 Boeing 747s, creating a legendary fleet of airplanes well known for their classiness and comfort. By this time, airlines had started to focus on fitting more passengers on the airplanes for more revenue, so the 747 that once held 400 people on the plane can now hold up to 600. They also replaced the lounges upstairs with 14 first-class seats. Some say that the 747 lost its atmosphere that once attracted customers. Ticket prices skyrocketed, there's no more lounges, and the flight crew doesn't have time to show as much hospitality as they used to. You can't even tour the cockpit anymore. The 747 has been retired by many airlines, including United and Delta. Airlines like Virgin Atlantic and Lufthansa have announced that they will slowly be getting rid of their fleet over time. These 747s have been replaced with jets that are newer, lighter, economically friendly, and more fuel efficient. These planes, like the Boeing 777, Airbus A380, A350, and the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, are more narrow and can fit just as many people aboard as the 747. You might be asking, where are these 747s going? After the last filled flight, the pilot will fly it to an airplane boneyard like in the Arizona desert, where they will land for the final time. These jets will eventually be scrapped or sold. As an aviation enthusiast, I would want to fly on one of these before they are gone forever. Even though I never would experience a 1980s atmosphere, I still would be fascinated by the massive size and scale of the jet. The aviation world is always changing, and this is a perfect example of what can happen in just 50 years. Whether you were a customer, pilot, or flight crew, this plane was different from the rest. It stretched the capabilities of aviation at its time and didn't leave anyone disappointed. As sad as it can be to say goodbye to such an iconic airliner, more ideas will come, and people will always relate that to the Boeing 747. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something today about aviation that you didn't know, because that's one of the most fascinating topics to me. In the comments below, I want you to answer the question, have you ever flown on a 747? And if not, what airplane do you want to fly on? I'm always interested in what my viewers think. I will make sure to keep releasing videos like this if you enjoyed it, and feel free to also leave future topic suggestions in the comments as well. And as usual, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed. If this is your first time on my channel, make sure you go check out my other videos. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep traveling.